Okay guys, welcome to part 3 of this water pump timing belt replacement on this 2003 Toyota Sequoia 4.7 liter. So next step, we're going to go and install the timing belt. Now, just for context, your timing belt should have these marks. You have the right cam, you have the left cam, and if you're facing the vehicle, this is going to be the left cam and that's going to be the right cam. So this should be lined up like this, the arrow facing outwards, and then the left cam should sit on that mark itself facing that. And then you're going to see the crank, the CR for the bottom. We're gonna put this underneath the vehicle on that sprocket. That sprocket has a little dot indentation that you're gonna go ahead and make sure you line this up. And again, the arrow's gonna be facing outwards. And then these two here, there's gonna be like a little hole on that sprocket, and I'll show you right now what that looks like. Give me 1 second. So basically, under the vehicle, pretty much, you see that little hole, that little white mark. I don't know if you guys can see that. This is where this is going to be set on, okay? And again, these two marks here, that's going to sit on that little hole right there. And I'll show you right now when I install it. So let me guys give you a better view. So what I like to do whenever I do these type of jobs, I'm going to start off at the bottom. And again, I got the CR arrow pointing outwards. I'm just holding the timing belt like so. And I'm just going to go ahead and place it underneath the sprocket, and I'm going to look for that mark. So let me go ahead and place this, but I'm normally going to do this, set it aside, and then I'm going to go underneath the vehicle, and then I'm going to go ahead and try to route it as best as I can. So let me go and do that, and then I'll show you guys a little bit what that looks like. All right, so just kind of give you guys an idea. I just hand routed the bottom, and just for now set that aside, and I'm just going to go ahead and leave this like so. And that's because I'm still going to go ahead at the bottom and try to fix that hole. So let me go ahead and show you what that looks like real quick. All right, so now it kind of gives you a better idea of what I'm doing. And you see that white mark, it's a little bit off. So this is a time where I'm just gonna see if I could route it where I need to. But since it's connected on the sprocket up there, I gotta go ahead and loosen that up. Let me see if I could do it right now. 1 second. Okay, it's a little bit off. This is what I'm doing right now. Just moving this. Oh, perfect. Okay, so you see how this CR line, it's right on the money, and then you have these two little marks. They're underneath that little round hole there. That's where you want to be. Okay, so now that we have this a little bit secure, I'm gonna leave this a little bit out like this, and I'll show you why. And as you can see, it's still on the mark, but I just want to make sure I leave a little gap, because when I maneuver it up there, it's gonna allow me to have a little bit of play where I could still move it just a tiny bit, not a whole lot. just like that. See that? And this is what it looks like here. And I'll show you what that looks like. Okay. So now that I'm up here, I'm gonna go ahead and put my hand here, and I'm gonna go ahead and route it to where it needs to be. So let me go and do that real quick. I don't know if I could hold this and not, but let me go ahead and do it with two hands real quick. At the same time, I'm kind of pulling that slack towards, well, I'm still holding it here. Okay. I don't know if you can see that. That's right on the money. Right here. See how there's that line and that's facing that way? And that's somewhat done. And again, just leave a little bit of a slack down here, facing maybe like 2 millimeters out, and that's going to give you some room to kind of place this as you go. All right, so let me go ahead and continue doing it this way. Hopefully I could show you guys what that looks like. See if I could put you guys on a tripod. All right guys, so this is a better angle for you guys. Remember, I already have the bottom on that dot. I have the left cam on that arrow, and now I'm just pulling the slack at the same time. Try to make sure that everything lines up. I'm just gonna see where we at right now with this. Okay. All right, so I wanted to show you guys what this looks like. Now, you might fall into this type of problem where that's right on the money. The bottom, I'll show you right now where it's right on the money as well. See that? See the CR on that dot and the two markings? And then the problem is we're one tooth off on this one. See that? And I don't know if you can notice, but the little timing mark, it's more on this side. So do you remember that when I first removed the timing belt, this was a little bit over here. So I'm gonna use a special tool, and this is what it's called. And I'm gonna use this spanner to move just a tiny bit that sprocket, just a tiny bit, a hair bit. At the same time, I'm gonna pull this slack on this timing belt so I can try to get it there as best as I can. Let me show you what that looks like. All right guys, so again, I'm just gonna move this sprocket just a little tiny hair, not a whole lot, and it's gonna be just a little hair, okay? A tiny bit. Okay. Just a tiny bit. I didn't move it that much, but just to kind of angle it. So when I do, it was a little hair off. So that when I put it back, it's gonna be right in the money. So I'm gonna install that back. All right, friends, now that I moved that small niche, now that's right in the money, right there. And I just moved it a tiny hair, not a whole lot, but it's gonna allow me to line it up where it needs to be. And as you can see, that one's lined up right on the money. And here at the bottom, see those two dots right there, and also those two other markings underneath that hole. And remember how I told you guys to allow a little bit of don't put it all the way inside. Now that we position everything correctly, we're gonna push this inside like this all the way. And I recommend it to leave a little bit of a slack, not a slack, but I guess not put it all the way inside, so that way we can maneuver it on the top. But as you can see here, it's right where it needs to be. And there's a little bit of slack here just because the tensioner is not on yet, but that gives you guys an idea. This is where it needs to be, and this is where it needs to be. And remember, once we install the tensioner, which is the next step, and once we pull the pin out, guess what's gonna happen? That tension is gonna go ahead and pull on this slack going up, and then the sprocket is gonna line up just where it needs to be. Hopefully that makes sense. So let's go ahead and install that tensioner real quick. All right, guys, so this is a new tensioner by ASIN. Well, not by ASIN, but it came with the kit. So this is what it looks like. Again, this is the old one. All you're gonna do, well, what I like to do, I like to put a little bit of grease or lubricant on the edge here. Let me grab some of that. And that's so that way I can kind of go in smoothly. Just a tiny bit, not a whole lot, like so. And then next step, we're gonna go install this bad boy, and it goes underneath here. Don't pull the pin out. So go ahead and install that, and then go ahead and torque this according to Toyota. I'll put the specs here in the screen for you guys. We're gonna do that real quick. Okay, guys, so according to the service manual, this bed tensioner, this tensioner should be torqued at 19 foot-pounds. And also these bolts, these are 12 millimeter bolts. They should go in smoothly when you put them with your hand. They should be able to go in smoothly. If you're fighting it, or if it's hard to hard to put them by hand, you might want to stop and go back, because these should really line up really good if you push in the tensioner in like so. Again, I did put a little bit of tiny lubricate grease on the ring, so that way it can slide in smoothly. And again, I'm going to torque these to 19 foot-pounds, and then we're going to go ahead and pull the pin, and we're going to go ahead and rotate this bad boy and make sure that's atop the center, and just make sure everything's lined up before you pull that pin. You see here, you see how there's some slack, so I got to make sure I push everything inside before I even do that. So this is a good way to check your work area, your work, before you even pull that pin. So I'm going to do that, fix it, and tie that 2 bolts out. And in case you're wondering how I'm torquing this, I'm using a 1/4 torque wrench, and I'm actually going and it fits right where it needs to be. It's not too big, not too small, and that's where I'm torquing it to specs. Let's go to the next step. Okay, so the next step, we're gonna go ahead and pull the pin. But before you pull the pin, just make sure all the lines are appropriately where they need to be. That way, we're not kicking ourselves. Let me just double check the bottom part again. Okay, as you can see, the lines are where they need to be, marked in, like so. Now that we have that confirmed, we're gonna go ahead and pull the plug, and see this slack, it's not gonna be in there no more. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. There we go. And see, it's no longer there. This, remember I told you that it moved I moved it a little bit. I moved the spanner a hair bit, and now that the tensioner was pulled, it kind of realigned itself where it needs to be, like so. Now the next thing you want to do, you want to go ahead and make sure that the job was done correctly. We're gonna put this in like so, and I'm actually going to put the bolt back in, and we're gonna make sure that we turn this and realign the marks. Obviously, what it means that we're not gonna see these arrows anymore because they're gonna shift around, but we're gonna make sure that the marks on the sprockets here and here line up, here and there. So let me go ahead and show you guys what that looks like. All right, let me grab. And remember, we're gonna turn it clockwise. Never do counterclockwise, okay? Here we go, guys. Moment of truth. Oh, my ratchet's not working, guys. Oh, there we go. I think it's gonna be a couple turns. Oh geez, it started to rain, guys. Pretty gloomy. I don't know where you are, but I'm hoping to pull through the rain, get you guys this content. Okay. I think we're coming to where it needs to be, lined up. Here we go, guys. Moment of truth. Now we are gonna put it top dead center. Okay. So that's top dead center mark right there. Top dead center mark right there. And I don't know if you guys can see, but there's a little mark on the top of the block, and then there's a little groove on the sprocket, and that's where it needs to be lined up. See that? My camera angle's a little bit bad, but maybe you guys kind of see that. Let me see if I could do a little hair. Man, this ratchet's not cooperating. Okay. I think that's right there. But once you confirm this is the case, guys, we're basically right on the money. And then we're gonna go ahead and install everything back. So let's gonna do that real quick before the rain starts to pour. Okay guys, so the next step, we're gonna go ahead and install the cover, the timing cover from the bottom. I went and go ahead and clean it up. It looks brand new. Make sure you install this little shield if it's right in that little keyhole. And then we're gonna go ahead and install this. There's no torque specs to how tight this is, so I'm just gonna go ahead and hand tie it, and then I'm just gonna make sure it's not loose. But before you install this, here's a little tip, guys. The reason why the crankshaft pulley wasn't able to kind of slide off is because with rust, this builds up over time. So go ahead and use, I'm using a 1000 grit sand, wet and sand, dry and wet sandpaper, and all I'm doing, I'm just gingerly going around this like so. And I'm also gonna do this as well inside the crankshaft, so that way we can get any type of rust that was built in there, and it's gonna allow you to basically put this in smoothly. So if you're kind of like trying to put this and it's not going in, this is the reason why, because rust kind of does build up, and you see how nice and shiny it looks like. And then also down there I shine it up a little bit, and that's going to allow this to kind of go in there smoothly. Just an extra tip, guys, in case you're kind of fighting that harmonic balancer was when you're trying to install it. All right, let's go ahead and put this back, and then we'll continue. Okay guys, so next step, we're going to go ahead and install the harmonic balancer slash crankshaft. We're going to go ahead and line it up like so, and we're going to go ahead and just push it in. And you should feel the key once you put it inside. Just push it in. Oh, there we go. There we go. It should slide in like so, and it's basically in place. And we're gonna go ahead and tighten this crankshaft bolt according to the service manual, as it be torqued at 180 foot-pounds. And you can use that tool that I had previously showed you. You could hold it in place, use one breaker bar and then another breaker bar at the bottom, and go ahead and give it the proper torque spec. So let me go ahead and torque this, and then we'll continue to the next step, okay? All right, guys, so next step, we're gonna go ahead and install the fan bracket. Here's a tip. Make sure that you inspect your fan bracket. Make sure it's all in working order. There's no type of bad movement here. And I strongly recommend to clean this rust out if you have access to a great cleaning tool. I'm using a nylon bristle. Now I'm just making sure I just clean it like so. And again, the reason why that the fan wasn't able to be removed because it's all rusted, and sometimes metal to metal, that's not a good way. And this tool is gonna not damage or take anything out of that aluminum bracket. So I'm just gonna go ahead and clean this up, and then we're gonna go install this back, okay? Okay, guys, so the next step, we're gonna install the fan bracket. Once you clean it up and polish it, and it's basically gonna go in these studs. There's a stud that goes in there, and there's another stud that goes here, like so. And make sure it's nice and snug. See that? And there at the bottom, I don't know if you guys could see, there's a little gap. It shouldn't be there. Also, there's another gap there, shouldn't be there. So just go ahead and make sure you play with it a little bit, get it nice and flush like so. See how that gap is gone? And there's no gap, and there's no gap right there. So we're gonna go and tighten that up. So according to the service manual, the 12mm bolt, when that goes up here, this is gonna be torqued at 12 foot-pounds. And there's the 14mm bolt. It's gonna go down here. This is gonna be torqued at 24 foot-pounds according to the service manual. And there's this nut that goes right here. Oh, I dropped it. But this nut's gonna go ahead and be torqued at 24 foot-pounds. Let me go ahead and find that nut, and then I'll continue. Sorry guys, I also forgot to tell you that this 12mm nut is going to be torqued at 12 foot-pounds. Okay, so 12 foot-pounds, 12 foot-pounds, 24 foot-pounds, and 24 foot-pounds. Okay, sorry about that. All right guys, so the next step, we're going to go install the AC compressor. And according to the specs, these bolts are going to be torqued to 36 foot-pounds. Okay, so let me go through the bottom, and I'm going to go ahead and maneuver that AC compressor back in place. And we're going to install this little bracket on top of here. This is going to sit here flush, okay? And don't forget to screw that little guy right there. So let me go ahead and do that real quick, and I'm going to go through the bottom and get that done. There we go. So again, this is going to be torqued at 36 foot-pounds. Oh, there's another bolt there in the back. It's going to be torqued at 36 foot-pounds. And also there's a bottom 12mm bolt to that. We're going to torque that. Okay, so the next step, we're going to go ahead and install the tensioner. And basically it goes right, there's a bolt in there, and these two bolts, you're going to want to go ahead and line them up and go ahead and make sure that's flush. Now according to the specs, These are going to be torqued to 12 foot-pounds here, here, and also there's a long bolt that goes all the way here at the bottom. See if I can show you guys. Right there. And that's going to be torqued at 12 foot-pounds. All right, so let me go ahead and install this, and then we'll come back. Okay, once you install the belt idler, we're going to go install the timing cover, and this one goes in here. Make sure it's nice and snugged, like so. Make sure it's securely in place. And this one, according to the service spec, these two bolts, these are 12 millimeter bolts. These are going to be torqued to 12 foot-pounds as well. Okay, here we go. So let me go ahead and torque these, and then we'll go to the next step. All right, the next step, we're going to install the timing belt cover. Pretty simple. Just line up the little bottom stud into that. Let me see. And then just go ahead and put these four. There's going to be 1, 2, 3, and then a nut. So let's go ahead and install that real quick. All right, guys, so next step, we're going to go ahead and install the alternator. And I kind of tucked in the alternator there, but we're going to go ahead and put it in place. Now remember, there's a 14 millimeter nut, and then a 12 millimeter nut, and then we have a 14 millimeter bolt that's going to go in there. So let me see if I could kind of show you guys. Maneuver this back in action. It's pretty heavy. Let me see if I can do it one-handed. Oh dear. All right, we're in place. Let me see if I could get that in that groove. Bear with me, guys. So I got it on this stud here. I just need to make sure I put it in that other stud. There we go. It's in place. Stud here, the stud there, and then I'm gonna get the 14. Okay, so according to the specs, this gets torqued at 29 foot-pounds, the top bolt, and then the bottom bolt here, that one gets torqued down to 29 foot-pounds. I wasn't able to get a torque spec for the 12 millimeter nut, so I just hand tightened it as best as I could, but just wanted to kind of give you guys that those specs. Let's go to the next part. Okay, guys, so the next step, we're going to go ahead and install the power steering pump. And remember, there's going to be 3 bolts, and according to the specs, those are going to be torqued to 13 foot-pounds. All right, so let me go and install this. Basically just putting this like so, and I'm going to line up those threaded holes, and I'm going to go ahead and put the bolts. Just remember, the top one was this one, and then the 2 other ones were on the sides. All right, so let me go ahead and install that and torque it to spec. All right, guys, so next up, I'm going to install the second timing cover. I installed a new camshaft sensor, so I'm going to go ahead and pull this through here like so. See if I can do it in one hand. There we go. And I'm going to install these back, and there's no torque specs as to where these are going to go ahead and go, so I'm just going to hand tighten them as best as I can. All right, so let me go and do that, and then we'll continue. All right, guys, so once you have the timing belt cover put back, it's time to install all your connectors in place. Remember, try to put everything like you got it. So just connect this and here, and we're gonna also connect the cooler lines, but let me go and do this with 2 hands and then we'll come back. All right, next we're gonna go and install the fan pulley, and it's gonna go like this. So make sure it's seated nice and properly, and then I'm gonna install the fan shroud. Let's see, it's gonna go like this. Yes, like this. Let me double check. Okay, yeah, so it's gonna go like this, and I'm just gonna gingerly try to place this in here like so. There's some clips there at the bottom. Well, not clips, but little indentation marks where these are gonna go inside here by the radiator. And then I'm gonna go ahead and get the fan assembly. And I did go ahead and clean that out. I'm gonna install this like so. And I will make sure that they line up accordingly, like so. And let's see if I could maneuver this. And I'm gonna go ahead and put those 10mm nuts, bolts, when I place it in here. But before I do, I'm gonna go ahead and torque this to, according to the service spec, these are gonna be torqued at 21 foot-pounds. All right, so it's gonna do that and then we'll come back. Okay guys, so next step, we're gonna install the thermostat housing. Make sure that you install a new seal. I put a new seal on it. I put a little bit of lubrication on it, so that way when I slide it in, they can slide. It's really nice and snug. And the next step, we're gonna go ahead and use some water pump or thermostat housing, a gasket maker. This is what it looks like. So we're just gonna go ahead and put some around here. Let me see if I can do that with 2 hands. I mean, with 1 hand. I'm just gonna apply a even all around, like so. Kind of get an idea. And then I'm gonna go ahead and put this inside. So I'm gonna do that with 2 hands and I'll be back. Okay, and according to the service spec, these two 12mm bolts are gonna be torqued at 13 foot-pounds. All right, and we're gonna go ahead and install the hose back in here like so. We're gonna put everything back as it should be. All right, so I'm gonna do that, and then we're gonna install the thermostat, and I'm gonna install the actual I bought some new radiator hoses I'm gonna install. I'm gonna put that back, and I'm gonna put the serpentine belt, and I'm also gonna put another idle pulley that goes here. Okay, and I'll put this torque specs up here, what this goes by. So I'm gonna do that and then I'll come back. All right guys, so once you install back the air intake and you put all the vents back where they need to be, and you install the serpentine belt, all that is in reverse order. Just inspect, make sure everything's on point. The last thing to do is to put on the coolant, and make sure you invest on some really good coolant, guys. Do not go cheap. Make sure you get the best for your vehicle. So I'm gonna go ahead and fill this. I'm gonna make sure that I bleed the air bubbles, and I'm gonna turn on the heater so that way the engine and the block could heat up really good, and then we're gonna bleed this. And that should be it, guys. So let me go and do that real quick, and then we'll start her up and see how she purrs. Okay, be back, guys. All right guys, so this is the moment of truth. We completed the job. Make sure every vacuum hose is connected. Make sure every sensor is plugged in. Make sure that all the vacuum hoses are plugged in just like we took them out. Make sure that mass airflow sensor's plugged in and everything looks good, guys. So this is a moment of truth. Let's go ahead and put the negative terminal and start this puppy up. All right. So many things could go wrong, but many things could go right as well. So again, I went and go ahead and topped it off with the proper coolant. And right now I even put some on the reservoir, like so. And right now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna start the vehicle, and then I'm gonna go ahead and turn the heater all the way up. You don't have to have it full blast, but just enough for the thermostat to open up and the coolant's gonna circulate, so we can make sure that there's no air bubbles on the cooling system. Okay, so let me go and do that real quick. So moment true, guys. There we go. Here we go, guys. Sweet. Let me check if there's any check engines, codes. None at all. Alright, so it's cold. Alright, let's go ahead and turn on the heater, guys. Hot. You don't have to go all crazy, but just to get the vehicle on hot mode. Let's go check it out to see if there's any leaks. Check the radiator hoses. So I bought the radiator hoses for this vehicle, but they sent me the wrong ones, and that's what I get for getting them at Amazon. But I did install the new serpentine belt. Let me see underneath the vehicle. And you want to check for any leakage by check the other side. And I don't hear that whining noise that the pump was making. That everything's nice and dry. You want to check right there by the housing. Make sure over right here by the O-ring, no coolant sipping out of there. Beautiful. All right, guys. Well, gonna wrap it up. I'm just gonna go ahead and let the vehicle idle so it can get to a warm temperature, and then I'm gonna go ahead and continue monitoring this. I'm gonna squeeze this this hose, and the way you'll know if the coolant has been circulated is if you touch this and it's hot, and if you also touch the bottom, this one right here, and it's hot. I will definitely tell you that's the case. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thumbs up, subscribe, and thanks for your patience, guys. Sorry it took me so long to wrap this up, but I'm glad that you were able to follow along. Any job like this does require attention to detail. I hope I was able to walk you through the process and give you step by step how to, you know, fix your own vehicle. If you do take this to the dealership, they will be charging you at least anywhere from $1,500 to $1,900. Save yourself some money, guys. Have a great day.